Good morning. So I think there were probably a handful of things that I found good or rewarding at the assembly. So one of them is actually in that top middle photo. It's a map of the world. And so it was around lunchtime, but they had different tables set up around the kind of convention hall, and they were all kind of meant to be different prayer or mindfulness activities. And that one was, look at a map, think of somewhere in the world where there's someone you want to pray for or keep in mind. And some of the other activities were in that similar vein, just what's something you want to let go of, or just different prayer exercises. And I found that to be a good experience. Another thing that I really enjoyed was honestly spending time with our other members of the church, because Jim Colmo was there, and you rotated tables, so they kind of made it so you come in, you sit with the people from your church probably, and then they're like, let's break you all up. So we were like, oh no, they're making us be social. But to start the day, I was at a table with Sharon and Jim, as well as a pastor from another ELCA church in Bay Village. So that was a fun way to start the day. But we did get broken up to the activities. And that was a good thing, because getting to talk to people from other congregations and hearing what they're going through, I think we were able to share kind of what we like about our church. There was a guy I talked to who was at a church that kind of sounds similar to where I was at before joining Good Soil. And I think sharing with him what the resolution for Trinity was kind of gave him hope, because he's seen his church kind of unfortunately declining. But I think our conversation made him optimistic about a future elsewhere.
Okay. So off of what Evan was saying, I agree with everything he said. But I think I would like to kind of share with you the theme and the overarching district emphasis. So many of you have heard about the Isaiah 43. There was an opportunity to attend a session a month ago. And this is going to be something that we're going to be hearing quite a bit about over the course of the next year. And how this theme came about is that the church is changing. And one of the things they're very concerned about is the fact that we're having fewer people coming into the ministry. And so congregations are having to get creative in how they are being ministered to. And some of them are sharing pastors. And that's coming out of the resources available, again, graduates in the ministry, but it's also becoming out of a financial challenge for many congregations. So they want to speak to that, and in the meantime, Bishop Barbins was saying, we don't have all the answers, and we're waiting. And she had a really good example about how when you plant a seed, you're waiting for the seed. And in the meantime, you are still doing work before that seed sprouts. You have to weed around it, water, and then the seed begins and you see the sprout, and there's some growth, but growth happens gradually over time before we see the manifestation of full fruits. And that's what we're doing in the church. But in the meantime, we are still doing the work of the ministry. So I think, as Evan was saying, members, when we broke out into these sessions, we heard concerns. In my just humble opinion, Good Soil's ahead of the curve. And I think the district is going to be reaching out for people to help with this process with the congregations who are really going through this struggle. And there's a lot of fear. People are afraid, change is hard. But you hear, all of us, and I'm so relatively new, the creation is happening here. And so I would encourage us as a congregation, as the district is seeking out support for these congregations who are in the midst of this change, that we could be a blessing and support them in many ways. So please keep your eyes on the Isaiah 43 information. There are links in the newsletter. Read more about it, and let's pray for our fellow family.